Hello. It is Thursday, September 6th, and it's a beautiful afternoon. I hope your life is fantastic. From all of us here in the MyBookie studio, it is a big thank you for what you did to the show on Tuesday. It was topic of conversation everywhere, Todd.
It was.
USA Today was talking about my story with Grigson. Pro Football Talk, Indy Star. I think even a couple ESPN stations picked it up, and now we are running into this beautiful Thursday to make it the greatest Thursday of all time. At Diggs is here with some dumb takes. At Nick Moraldo. At Viva Lazito. At Ty Schmidt is housing an energy drink in the back, hoping to kill himself quicker. At Evan Foxy, we are so thankful that you choose to listen. It is noon or afternoon, and we can't thank you enough. This noon schedule is one that Dave was here on Tuesday. Very amicable split. He asked a lot of questions about the noon release. We're trying to stay topical, though. Want to be able to talk about things that happened last night. Now, granted, did anything happen last night?
No.
I don't think so.
Not really.
So this whole thing of we need to record in the morning might backfire just a little bit. But here we are. So thankful, very thankful of Joe Thomas coming on the goddamn show today. Future Hall of Famer. Diggs, what are some stats of Joe Thomas? I know that a primetime football game called him the first offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. That is a big get for this show.
So basically, he was in the league for 11 years, but his last year he was hurt. So for 10 straight seasons, his first 10 years, he made the Pro Bowl.
It's wild. Wow. But refused to go to the draft, by the way. Was on a fishing boat with his father whenever he got drafted out in the middle of some lake. That's true.
I love it.
Love
Seven of those years, he was an All-Pro.
Okay.
All this is done in Cleveland. And then for 10,363 consecutive snaps played is the long streak since the NFL began recording snap counts. And that's for an offensive lineman. That's not like someone who's not in the trenches every play. That's 10 and a half years of not missing a snap.
All of it in the pit of misery.
That's what I'm about to say. That is the big thing there. This is in a miserable place of Cleveland. Now, Grant, are they turning around with Todd Haley and Greg Williams? Possibly. Got to put your testicles in the hole, Greg Williams said. But the time he was there, it was not great. No. Not great at all. In your emotional state, I can't wait to talk to him about, hey, how did you stay afloat? How did you not just want to quit football? Because the year we were almost completely defeated, that entire building was miserable. Everybody thought they were getting fired. Coaches thought they were getting fired. Players thought they were getting fired. That's a tough atmosphere. And in Cleveland, I think that's just par for the course over there. And Joe Thomas lived it. Yep. Can't wait to chat about that. Shaquem Griffin, a man with one hand, was named a starter for the Seahawks. That's a big deal. Earl Thomas wants the fuck out of there, though.
I got a prediction on that.
What is it?
So I was looking this morning at the schedules a little bit. The Seahawks play the Cowboys week 3. I expect that trade to happen week 4.
Pete Carroll's like, listen, Earl, okay, we can't give it to you before we play you. You have to give it afterwards. Because the last time they played there, didn't he run to the Cowboys locker room? Do you remember that? He sprinted after the game to the Cowboys locker room. I don't know if it was Jason Garrett and his cheesy smiling ass or if it was Jones, who it was. He shook somebody's hand, though, and was basically like, he was still in his Seahawks uniform. I thought he was going to fight. Like, you never see somebody running to the other team's locker room in their full uniform. He's like, please bring me back to the Cowboys. That's a wild move. Wild move. It's only a matter of time, I think, before Earl Thomas is donning the star on his helmet. Skip Bayless is like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime move the Cowboys can make. Isn't he a diehard Cowboys fan?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, by the way, Skip Bayless. He was like, they need to give it all up.
That's where he started in Dallas. That's why he covered them originally before becoming nationwide.
That's why he's a little high horse guy.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He is a high horse guy. I like the Cowboys, by the way. Quick hits with Diggs got pulled off, or Pat and Diggs got pulled off of YouTube last night.
No idea why.
No clue why.
Some sort of community guidelines. You guys,
Too much fire?
Too much fire. Seriously, there was nothing inappropriate in that entire video. I have no idea why.
Maybe it was copywriting the David Letterman toss.
Oh, your dad told you you were bad at it. We maybe should have threw that away, but here we are throwing cards and getting us blocked on YouTube.
You know what I think it could have been?
Huh?
This is definitely your fault.
Why?
Yeah.
Kris Jenner. She doesn't want the news about Kim and Drake having sex coming out.
Somebody commented on my thing and said, no, Drake had sex with Kris Jenner,
Oh.
not Kim Kardashian. And then that put my entire head into a spin
So
zone.
Kris is Kiki.
Yeah, so those of you that didn't watch Quick Hits with Pat and Diggs last night because it got pulled off of YouTube, we did predictions for all of the NFC. I picked the Cowboys strictly because Dak Prescott likes to go out and party with penis guns, and I'll stick by that. He was also on my on this show, so I'm a big fan of Dak. He likes to party. I think that whole thing. But then I dropped a little line about Drake having sex with Kim Kardashian because Joe Budden said it. And then in the comments section, somebody's like, no, not Kim, Kris. And then if you go back and start reading through all of the things that Joe Budden said, and you just insert Kris Jenner into there, you're like, possible. Drake's out here slamming the whole goddamn family, possibly.
Well, then don't call her Kiki, because that's what we're going to guess. Say Nana or something. Make it a little more obvious.
Kris Jenner goes from Bruce Jenner, rest in peace, Caitlyn Jenner, to Drake.
Yeah.
Quite a jump.
Well,
Drake's in good company there. That's a decathlon gold medalist.
OJ.
American hero.
Huh?
Don't forget OJ.
Don't forget OJ.
Oh, there's another spin zone. That family has so many fucking controversies possibly around it. You have to respect it. You honestly have to respect what
do.
they've done. You have to. They're in every single conversation. And with being respectful to different people that have done incredible things, my bookie is an incredible group of humans. Have you seen? You can gamble on Keeping Up with the Kardashians on my bookie.
Yep.
Sam signed up last night. My lady, and it's a nightmare. No. This is not good. This is not good.
Yikes.
She was comparing it to, this is like Scratchers.
No.
Bro, she was betting on if Ronda Rousey is going to be the women's WWE champion after WrestleMania 2019. That's in, what is
Future
that?
bets.
Yeah.
That's in March or April or February.
Yeah.
And she was like, so when do I get the money? I'm like, well, I mean, not till fucking March or April. She's like, oh, it's a slow play. I was like, yeah, she was scrolling through
I
there.
like that bet, though.
Me too. MyBookie.ag, you can bet on it. It's like it is honestly.
Well, let's be honest, though, those are all investments that she's doing.
It's not. It's not, Zito. But it is. There are so many things to gamble on there. She walked into her little heaven. She started gambling. She bet on the Eagles Falcons tonight.
Nice.
She's taking the under of 22 points in the first half,
Okay.
which I like that bet, by the way. She picked that out of nowhere. I was like, Sam, not a bad bet there, actually, because the offenses might take a little while. Defense normally see ball, get ball, off to a hot start, especially in the first half when it's on TV. There's a lot of celebration going on. Good bet there. And then she bought a half a point, had no idea what she was doing. Had no idea. She was like, oh, yeah, I want to buy things. She likes to shop. She buys a half a point. So now she has the Falcons minus a half a point. So she's
Just have to get the win.
just have to get the win, and she's just flooding my bookie with money right now. But it is all going to come back because my bookie is giving away money. Use promo code PAT when you sign up. You'll get 100% match, 100% bonus on your deposit, up to $1,000, obviously.
Yeah, let's not get crazy.
Sam put $999 in.
Gotta maximize that match.
I respect it. It was a good investment. Now, granted, she's just going to go bopping around. You can gamble on everything on my bookie.
Yeah, Justin Bieber's best man at the wedding.
Everything. You can bet on, and I think that's why.
Is himself a choice?
The longest on is Ellen DeGeneres.
Bro, giving a speech to yourself at your wedding as your own best man. Best man speech now, and you get up from like the bride and groom table.
I've been there for me this entire time.
That is such a beautiful move. My bookie, though, is a lot of fun, and they're taking care of us. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Go to mybookie.ag, use promo code PAT, get 100% match on your first deposit, and just go have some fun in there. Sam compared it to scratch-offs, which is exactly what it is, really. And instead, you don't have to pay cash. It's money just coming right to you. Great group of people. The fact that they'll fade anything, by the way, beautiful.
Awesome.
I love it.
Absolutely beautiful. They've taken care of us. You know that. We know that. We should all go gamble with them because they're the greatest gambling site on earth. Diggs, what's up, bub?
You talked about the game tonight. It's back. Football's back.
Thank God.
Who do you have?
Tonight?
Yep.
Falcons.
+1. I got him a +1.
+1.
Oh, yeah.
No, see, it's switched. Now they're minus.
Yeah. Right now, they're currently -1. Yeah.
Yes.
I still like that.
Sam bought a half a point. It's such a hilarious move. I like the Falcons pretty heavily here. Now, granted, Nick Foles might come out of nowhere and just start balling again.
Maybe he's just a gamer. He says, "Fuck the preseason. I only play well in games, real games."
Real games. He's going to catch a touchdown tonight, possibly.
Except for those years that I didn't play well in real games.
A lot of them. Doug Peterson, though, remember this, Foxy.
Yeah.
Team meeting before NFC Championship or Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's happy, having a blast. It's why I like the Eagles. This team is loose. Now Doug Peterson's going after the media.
Not happy.
Doug Peterson's yelling at people. Nick Foles is throwing bad in the preseason. It just seems like a different team. Now, granted, the Patriots start slow every year, too, until they find their groove.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that's what will happen with the Eagles, but I feel very good about the Falcons, an overlooked team every
too.
single year. I feel very good about them tonight. I think you hammer that now.
The Falcons were actually one play away last year from beating the Eagles in the playoffs in Philadelphia. Like, they were almost made back-to-back runs. The Falcons are very underrated.
They are very underrated. Matt Ryan's got a little candy arm, but, I mean, it's a good team. They got a lot of athletes on the defense. That's why I think that under 22 bet in the first half
They're a fast defense.
is a very good bet. I think that's a solid. Sam had no idea. She was just pressing buttons. But U22, yeah, that seems good. She didn't even know what it meant. But I think they're going to be great. Todd, will you watch and gamble on all football games or just Colts stuff?
Oh, all games.
All games.
Yeah. I'm hooked.
Fade Todd.
Do you bet on the Colts?
Usually I don't.
'Cause I won't bet on the
Because I
Steelers.
feel like I'm fucking them. No, obviously, it doesn't matter. They're going to fuck themselves probably, traditionally. But the last couple years anyway. But because what I like about it is I would just skim games, fucking I don't really care what the Falcons do or whatever. But now it gives me that extra investment.
You have a horse in the
every
race.
play.
It's a horse in the race.
Yes.
I understand people love fantasy, and if you're going to do fantasy, you do it with DraftKings for sure.
Yeah.
But it just the feeling of having a horse in the race is so beautiful, and I don't know how people watch sports without it. Now this is somebody I played for a long time. I don't always comprehend the fan view of things. Like the people that they have their superstitions. They wear only a certain pair of underwear or shirts. It's like I appreciate the fact that you think that's going to control whether or not I shake a punt when I'm back. I appreciate that so much. That means a lot. But if you don't have a horse in the race, I don't get it.
You're going to love what I do for quick hits today.
Can't
man.
wait. What do you do? What do you do?
I'm going to wear my gambling hat and probably my gambling necklace, too.
Today.
Yeah.
Because this type of thing just gets you to make the right decisions.
Correct.
If you don't have that hat on, completely dumb takes by you.
Oh, yep.
Well, it seems like that
Guaranteed.
is a very regular. The headset doesn't fit over the hat you're wearing, the fedora.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, isn't it?
Colin Kaepernick Just Do It campaign
Yep.
with Nike is going to come to a complete melting point tonight whenever on opening night, prime time. Biggest ratings, I think, until probably playoffs is tonight. And there is a long Nike commercial. They'll probably edit it down to something. There is a long Nike commercial with Colin Kaepernick voicing it over. The internet's already seen it. I cannot wait to see people explode over it. I cannot wait for it.
It's going to be crazy.
So I watched the commercial's out on the internet. It's 2 minutes long. It's a long commercial. They can't explode over what's in the commercial because it's all like great stories. The only part that they could explode over it is Kaepernick doing the voiceover, and he's at the very end, which they will explode.
That's what people are exploding about. Colin, you got to remember, Colin Kaepernick is the reason why. Now, you can say whether or not you believe it or not believe in it, but trust it or support it or not. Ratings went down in the NFL. And I would say that politics getting involved and drama getting involved is 100% the reason why. That is just somebody that believes that way. People don't just tune out. Now, granted, the rules changing, refs having no clue what to do on the field, possibly an issue, but the politics getting involved, from the president all the way down getting involved, is definitely a reason why ratings went down. And Kaepernick is the reason it all started. And now, granted, he took a knee for something that is very vital in this country. Let's not get crazy, what he was trying to promote. But that is the reason why a lot of people feel like they lost football to them. So there is this angst against Colin Kaepernick no matter what he does. And now their favorite goddamn shoe company is now backing him and putting him on TV. It's like, and it's the NFL and Nike. I cannot wait to see how that relationship works. I cannot wait, because the NFL is like, we're taking them out of the league completely. And they can say they're not. There's a whole trial going on with that. But the NFL is like, nope, He's going to be an opening night, probably on Sunday Night Football, probably on Monday Night Football. He's going to be in every primetime game this year if you don't want it. I'm excited to watch it. I am very excited to watch it.
NFL executives have to be losing their fucking mind.
Jerry Jones came out and said that he respects Nike or something like that. I respect Nike, but behind closed doors, there's a fucking Jerry Jones just kicking fucking I don't wear Nike. I wear fucking
Well, that's why he
dress shoes anyway.
That's why he wanted those move it to 18 games, because they said if they move to 18 games, that's $32 million extra dollars a year for the owners. So I'm sure Jerry would like that extra $32 million a year.
Jerry Jones wanted his own merchandising deal, which he has right now. The rest of the teams, they all have a shared profit thing. So if you're a bad team in a small town and you don't sell as much merch, you kind of get picked up by the other teams who do. Dallas Cowboys, I think, are the only team that are not in that. We want to sell our own shit. We want to do our own thing. So Jerry, it is smart business-wise. But if you want to build the league and help everybody else out, you need other teams in small cities, you know? You need the team in Green Bay, although Green Bay is incredible and nationwide, but in a small city.
Oh, yeah, same thing. They're not selling merch like the Cowboys are.
Or New York Giants or New York Jets, just strictly out of humans.
Is it a revenue sharing situation?
Yes. Yeah, it is a rev share, except for the Cowboys. Yeah. They're in their own world. And I've heard people who used to work pretty high up in the NFL say, if the league had 32 Jerry Jones, the league wouldn't exist, because it is one of those things where they need to share profit. Yeah. But Jerry Jones is the most influential owner out there, him and Kraft. And I'll be excited to see what happens with that Nike fucking conversation.
What was Jerry Jones' business before?
Oil.
Oh, that's why.
Oil.
How do you feel about the 18-game thing?
I think it should be 17 games, add an extra bye, take away 2 preseason games. That's what I've always pitched. So it's 19 weeks now because you're adding a game and a bye. It kind of makes NFL happier. You're making the players happier by adding the bye week, and you get 2 more paychecks. That's a pretty big deal too. Extend the paycheck. It would have to be prorated for the extra 2 weeks because you only get paid during the season. Plus, you cut down maybe 3 preseason games, with that third game being the guys that don't play. So you're kind of taking care of everybody there. And I've always said, hey, if we're going to make more money, now granted, I don't have to take pills to get out of bed on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not just ramming my head into humans like Joe Thomas has to do. I'm just thinking clearly as a businessman almost.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, if this is what the NFL wants this so much, let's go ahead and try it out. More games is better, but I think you have to, for business, for fans, it's better. Not for players, it's not great. But I think if you add a game, you have to add a bye week as well because it's just too long.
I saw an interesting theory that Florio presented. I don't know if he came up with it himself, but I don't know if you saw this or not. But it was add the 2 games, drop 2 preseason games, but only players would only be allowed to play 16 games, and you would have to dip into a reserve section of players for the 18 games. No, but it would exclude certain positions like quarterbacks and certain skill positions could play all the time.
I like Florio's brain a lot. He's a Paisan. He's a West Virginia guy. I like Florio a lot. He's been on the show a few times. But dipping into a reserve group of players is fucking your team, and I don't enjoy that at all.
I thought it was interesting, just the strategy of it, like being a head coach, deciding, okay, well, I need to sit this guy a week.
Yeah,
he
that's
can't
like
play
Little
in
League,
week
though.
2 or 3.
That's like Little League with a pitch. I don't enjoy that. I enjoy the adding players on the team, though. Instead of 53, make it 60.
Yeah.
If you're going to have an extra game, then you can kind of more jobs for people. I think there is a way to negotiate a win-win. I don't think 2 more games is possible because you got guys that can barely walk going into the playoffs. You got people taking more Toradol and pills just to play in the playoffs than probably humans should. Let's just say that. Now, granted, there is an inherent risk whenever you play football, but the whole offensive lineman, if you just watch some offensive linemen on Wednesday when the game is on Sunday, that's why the Thursday night games are hated by players so much. Because Thursday is about a day where they're almost recovered, and then whammy, you're right back in it. Toradol can't walk the whole weekend, that whole thing.
I would like to see them get rid of the Pro Bowl, too, that game.
Completely?
Just make it, pick them, and tell
skills
us who
challenge.
made it.
I like skills
and
challenge.
just do skills challenge.
Because you can even have offensive linemen race.
Yeah.
Like have offensive linemen race, like have a whole skills
Yeah.
challenge.
I would rather it just be a fun thing for players and a fun thing for us because nobody really enjoys watching that game. I mean,
No.
Offensive lineman eating challenge.
And players don't really enjoy playing in it.
Maybe the offensive linemen do the Atlas Stone. Let's just turn it into a strongman.
I don't mind that, but and keep it in Hawaii.
Or American Gladiators type thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a way. I think there's a way to turn it into actual entertainment where you make a Pro Bowl. It's like a nod, like congratulations on the incredible year that you've had. If you would like to participate in these challenges, you can come. Here's the money you'll get paid for it, and then just kind of keep it moving because the game the game gets higher ratings though than. The Pro Bowl game gets higher ratings than like Major League Baseball
Still gets
playoff
like a 5
series.
or 6.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's because all the big names are there.
Yeah.
All the people that are making all the money are there. So J.J. Watt's there. Houston Texans fans are watching strictly for J.J. Watt, who's trying harder than everybody else because he wants to win that goddamn truck, which I respect, by the way. Clay Matthews is trying to block punts in the Pro Bowl, but you got the Packers fans who like Clay Matthews watching. You got Saints fans. So it's all these individual people bringing them. But I think you're right. The game is so bad.
Do you get the check? Like, if you make it and then you, for whatever reason, you decide you don't want to go play, do you still get
does
that
that
money,
happen?
or do you have to show up?
What's that?
Does that happen? Do people get picked to Pro Bowls and decide they don't want to go to the game?
Yeah. You can be a G if you want. I mean, I had a dislocated kneecap my final year. Anytime I had a kicking session, I couldn't walk, right? So I would punt and kick on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Thursday nights, I was literally bedridden. Sam would have to get my game ready, which is a device that straps around your leg and it flushes cool water in and out. It was a miserable existence for the last 7 weeks of my NFL career, basically. But it became this thing where I had a $250,000 bonus on making the Pro Bowl. So I make the Pro Bowl, and I'm already retiring at this point. So now I have to have a conversation with legal counsel with the Colts. Like, do I have to play in this game to get this bonus? And they're like, technically, it says yes. And I'm like, I don't want to not walk for the next, for all the, because I have to train. I can't just go embarrass myself at the Pro Bowl. So honestly, that was another situation where I was like, nope. Fuck it, not playing, not doing it. I'm already done. I'm over. And Jim Irsay said, I'm going to pay you for that. I want to let you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jim Irsay gave me the bonus without me playing. I didn't get the $40,000 for playing in it, which you have to do to get it. But Jim Irsay gave me the.
That's incredible.
It is very, very cool.
That's a lot of money to do in just good faith.
Yep, I agree with that completely. But I also think the doctor that did the surgery on my knee and also did the MRI and everything was like, yeah, his knee's pretty fucked up. It's pretty, I mean, it would be a very miserable existence. But Jim Irsay has done right by me my entire career. This is just like with Dave and Erica. Dave and Erica have done right by me my entire career. I got mad at people below them. Jim Irsay was always very, very nice of me. If it wasn't for him, I would have been out of Indianapolis probably after my contract was up with Grigson. So it was never the owners. It's always the people, right?
When he gave you that check, was just like, brother.
No, it just showed up.
Yeah.
It just showed up. The check just showed up. And
What do you think? He handed him a big fucking
Yeah.
golf tournament check?
That's how I imagine the NFL works.
Here's my question to you.
Yeah.
If you weren't hurt and you were healthy,
Yeah.
could you have retired and still played in, like retired after the season? Would you have been the first player to be retired and play in the Pro Bowl? Was Saturday retired when he did that last Pro Bowl thing?
I think so. Whenever he went over
Like
to the
officially
AFC
retired,
and snapped it to Peyton,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole thing. Yeah, I think he was. I think some people do that.
Okay.
But granted, you got to remember, most people don't retire years they make Pro Bowls.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
That is something that doesn't normally happen. So I would have been able to play even if I announced my retirement. That would have been a fun
Would have been awesome.
Pro Bowl, by the way. That would have been a very, very fun. I got texts from a lot of kickers and players around the league basically telling me, like, Tucker sent me a text. He was like, I'm going to miss you at the Pro Bowl, man. I was so excited to work with you. I just want to let you know that. I'm like, thanks, Tuck. That means a lot. Yeah, I have surgery tomorrow. I'm about to be pilled up. I'll watch you from home.
Who
bro.
took your spot? You remember? I bet they thanked you.
It was Colquitt. Colquitt from Kansas City, I believe.
that
He
Britton
did.
or Dustin?
Dustin. He sent me a text. He was like, thanks, bro. I appreciate you or whatever. And I was like, I just need one golf swing out of you. You pin one. And he did. I was like, I appreciate
Nice.
that. It was very nice of him. Yeah.
So Irsay did right by you. He's got a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Another owner that has a fuck ton of money.
Yep.
Stan Kroenke. Did you see this? What came out about the Rams last night?
No.
The Rams admitted COO Kevin Demoff
Nailed it.
admitting.
By the way, what was it 5 efforts right there? Have we still got it right yet?
There is a Dimitrov somewhere.
Yeah, he used to be in Atlanta.
There it is.
Old Atlanta.
If it
Journal.
means anything, I don't even know if that. I didn't even know that guy existed.
So there's a Kevin DeMoff, though. But he admitted that the Rams made a play for Khalil Mack. We offered a pretty aggressive package, and they came back and said, we just think you're going to be picking too low. The Rams are playing with fucking funny money.
How do they
If
have
they
this
think they could
monopoly?
pay Aaron Donald, Brandon Cooks, Khalil Mack,
I wonder if it was
Dominican Sue.
before they paid.
No,
Donald.
they said they wanted to pair them together.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Think of that defense with Wade Phillips in there pulling the trigger too.
Fucking Akeem Talib, Marcus Peters, like,
What are you doing over there? What would they? How would they lose? How? Oh, what is it? That's like the Golden State Warriors, where if one player's having a bad night, no big deal. We got 4 more All-Stars ready to go. Like if Ndamukong Suh's having a bad day, don't worry about it. The guy that trains with knives, Aaron Donald's going to have a good day. If Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh somehow have a bad day, Khalil Mack's on the outside. Don't even worry about it. And if they're all having bad days, it's okay. Keep Talib, Marcus Peters locking down in the secondary. That becomes a team that is unstoppable right there.
How do you have that much cap space? though?
Because Jared Goff's on a
Just a
rookie
structuring
contract.
yeah,
genius.
but they like, yeah, I mean, you have to be doing something. But when Goff was up, they would have had to make some tough decisions. Like they would have had to cut some people.
I assume that when all these old vets with all this big money are coming in, I assume
front.
they're telling them like, hey, we are able to do this because we don't have to pay our quarterback as soon as we have to. This is a 2-year run here.
Tight
probably.
window, yeah.
Yeah, this is a 2-year run here. You might end up somewhere else, but we need to do this now. So, and that might be the way they're controlling the personalities too. Like, hey, no bullshit, because this is only a 2-year run here. We can't handle any of the bullshit.
Yeah, I think I know Sue's contract this year is like it's all fully guaranteed money. I don't know if it was was it a 1 or 2 year deal, but that's how his deal is pretty much.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
and I
smart.
assume Akeem Talib's is very similar.
This is kind of what the Patriots did for a while, right? Guys that were ring chasing would just go show up at the New England Patriots
Yeah.
for a year or two, and then they would leave. But that was all taking big pay cuts.
Yeah.
The Rams are doing the opposite. We'll pay you a shit ton, but this is only a 1-2 year stint, and then you're going to get out of here. Living in L.A.,
Also,
by the way.
Like Peters isn't negotiated a new deal yet either. He's only making
still on
like
his
less than
Chiefs.
$2 million. So
he's still on his rookie Chiefs contract.
But if you win, there's enough to go around. That is the quote basically in every NFL team. If you win, there's enough to go around, whether it's with our team or with another team. If we win, that's why anytime you see somebody get cut from the Patriots, normally they are picked up immediately. It's like, I don't know how good he was with the Patriots, but if Bill Belichick liked him, let's bring his ass in here. That is always, you can judge a GM quickly in how his peers feel about him. If you see if the cuts get picked up on the waiver wire. So it was there for a while. Anytime the Patriots cut somebody, everybody else was like, give him, we'll take him. For the Colts there for a while, we cut people and ain't nobody signing them for a long time. But back in the day when Polian was here, people would get cut, they get picked up somewhere else. It's a very interesting little thing you can read into shit.
I think also with the Patriots and the Colts during that time is those bad teams want an inside look into any information they can on how that organization runs, on how to be a better organization.
Hey, whatever you were doing up there, just do it here. We don't know exactly what it is. We ain't got it. We ain't got the formula. But you were baptized by it for a couple weeks. If you could just somehow do that here.
Coaches are blowing the whistle, yelling out instructions, and looking over at the ex-Patriot. Did I do that right?
Is this what you guys
Is
want?
what I'm saying making sense?
I can't wait for the NFL to start. God bless your soul.
Thank you.
God bless everybody with the NFL starting back up. Seems if they got that lowering the helmet rule figured out, little common sense. It's only a matter of time, though, before a ref makes a judgment decision that fucks over a fan base and they lose their absolute shit. It's going to happen, but I can't wait to get to watch some games. Can't wait to go to some Colts games this year.
Are you going to go?
I'm going to go to some Colts games. I'm going to go to a lot of games, I think.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Strictly because I like live entertainment.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like going to Broadway shows. A lot of people have judged me for that. Seen Hamilton a couple times.
Alexander Hamilton.
That was his name. That was his name. Guy who killed him, Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
Sir. He killed him. I just enjoy watching people work. Okay, because as somebody who has had to do some work while people watched, there's a lot of moments of potential fuck-uppery that happens and nobody has a clue about it. It's kind of like the magic behind it all. That's why I enjoy live shows. I like watching comedians. I like watching theater. I like watching I'll watch damn near anything, and not strictly because I'm a fan of it. Like, I think I'm going to watch Lion King when it comes to town here.
Oh, nice.
Not because I'm a fan of Lion King, just because I want to watch the humans perform in front of other humans while thousands of people are watching.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoy that a lot. I respect it a lot. And there's only one way to get tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the greatest ticket buying app in the history of ticket buying apps. They have options for everything you could possibly fathom, whether it's football, whether it's any other sport, comedy, live theater, you name it. SeatGeek is the greatest place to buy tickets on the entire internet. Let me tell you why. They scan all the other ticket sites so they know you're getting the best bang for your buck. There's no catfishing. What they say you're going to get, you get. You use promo code PAT and get $10 off your first SeatGeek purchase. You use promo code McAfee, you get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. You can get some tickets for damn near free if you use those promo codes now. You're alive, but are you living? Go live and watch it live with SeatGeek. I love SeatGeek. Todd, I think you love SeatGeek more than any human.
I love them so much.
You just show up at random-ass concerts. All of a sudden, you get an IG story from Todd. And then the Grateful Dead concert. Like, what? I don't know. They are the best, though.
It's so easy.
That's
That's the key.
all it takes.
So two taps,
And
and
it's-
I have tickets.
And it's the best bang for your buck. You're not going to get catfished. A lot of other places have incredibly wild service fees and all that shit. SeatGeek is just perfect. And they were our first sponsor on our podcast after I retired. Now, technically, they're the second or third. But that's because the guy who does their marketing was in Budapest or something. I got a text when he got back. What happened? Man, bro, I don't know, a lot. He's like, how do we get back in the game? I'm like, I have no idea, but let's work it out. Very thankful SeatGeek is back, and I can't wait to go watch some games.
I think Todd just bought tickets to Taylor Swift this upcoming weekend.
She sells so many tickets.
Dude.
She's rich.
She's like a young Garth Brooks.
Yeah, she's crushing.
Garth Brooks sold out our arena here 5 times in one weekend.
Lucas Oil?
We called a meltdown, though, for her. So.
Arena.
Banker's Life.
Baker's Life.
Baker's Life, yep.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Arena Stadium.
Stadium.
I get those confused.
I could see how you
is the
could do it.
difference?
I think stadium has the potential to open, or it's more large, I believe. Arena is more
I mean, how
of
many seats does the Colts Stadium hold? Do you know?
65 or 70.
Yeah, and I'm sure Banker's Life is like 20.
So, yeah, if it's a
17
capacity thing.
or 20. I think it's probably a certain
Because the
number.
old Civic Arena,
down there in Pittsburgh.
little known fact, they could open that roof. The igloo? That could open.
No way.
Yeah.
The toilets could barely flush.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it stopped, but it could have opened back in it also cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars to open.
So the Colts, Banker's Life, that roof can open, and the Colts petitioned that they have a rule that we are allowed to open our roof at halftime if the weather is clear. First time they tried to do it, a boat fell from the roof, hit a woman in the head. You remember this?
Yes.
She goes to the hospital, and there's a big lawsuit.
Wait, what hit her?
A boat fell from the...
Oh, you said a boat. I was like, how the hell did a boat get up there?
Well, it's a
wild.
big enough stadium. You could put a boat up there, but there's a button that you hit, and it just opens the roof.
Can you
It's like,
imagine that button?
it's a convertible. Yeah, just like a big fun hit. Boom. That was easy.
It's like a nuclear bomb. You got to press at the same
There's
time with
probably
someone else.
launch codes.
They made it a big deal when they wanted to make the rule because in Indiana, weather changes
Yeah.
so quickly.
You
And
don't
they're
like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
It's such a terrible cliche, but it's very accurate. And they wanted to open the roof at halftime, so they petitioned the NFL to be able to make this rule change. It was a big deal. They get it passed, and then the first opportunity comes. A little rain in the morning, so they got to keep it closed. And then by the end of the first quarter, it's like beautiful, and you can sense there's like a little bit of excitement from the front office folks. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna fucking open the roof now. It's our time," and then open it, and then there's just a sweet little Hoosier lady sitting there watching the Coats, and all of a sudden, whammy, right in the head, a bolt hits her, goes to the hospital, the whole thing. I think the NFL was like, how about we just keep that motherfucker closed when people are in that goddamn thing?
You think that's bad? One of the last times the Civic Arena opened, Jean-Claude Van Damme wrecked the goddamn helicopter into the scoreboard right at center ice.
Hey, Pittsburgh's got a lot of drama going on, bro.
Yeah. So
Everybody's turning on this dude. Normally players, Joe Thomas tweeted this out last night, and I'll talk to him about it here whenever we interview him here in a couple minutes. Normally players are all about other players getting rich. Hey, man, get your money. We all understand how this is. Get your money. But now it's at the point where it's almost like Tomlin told him, like, hey, man, We've all supported Lev in this whole thing. He told us he was going to come back week 1. Now he's not showing. Fuck him. It's almost like that's what Tomlin said. And then the players just came out swinging on him yesterday, and you never see that. What are some quotes they said, Diggs?
All right, so this is from Pouncey. I just felt confident that he was going to come. But now that he didn't, obviously it's Le'Veon over the Steelers, and we're the Steelers, and we're going to play as the Steelers. Now when it's game time, and you know that you have 14 million looming out there, and you're still not here, and your team really wants you at this point. We got James Conner. That was from Pouncey. DeCastro said we all thought he would be here today. He makes us all kind of look stupid a little bit. Just sit out the whole year then.
No, DeCastro is the guy who – no, that's Villanueva. Villanueva served in one.
Correct. Yep.
He's – that guy's the guy, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't come out and say anything, I bet it.
No.
He made some type of comparison to the economy and said something along the lines of like him being here or not being here affects and hurts all of us, and it was like a very diplomatic
I think
statement.
also part of it is
if you win, there's enough to go around.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
a
much
big deal in the NFL.
I think also part of it is the players realize, so if he would have, so he came out and said it'd be the same as last year, he'll be back week 1. So the Steelers thought they would be spending $14.5 million on him this year.
Right.
If he said he was sitting out till week 8, week 9, and they're only going to pay him $9 million a year, that's $5 million that they could have spent somewhere else to help the team.
Yep.
That's a good point.
And they could have maybe brought in another running back.
Right.
Or there's a lot of things that could happen. That Adiza Bakari guy really pissed off a lot of people in his interview yesterday. He was on our show, and he had 140 yards rushing or something week 4 last year.
Correct.
So I questioned him. I said, hey, he skipped all the training camp. Then he had a slow start, only had 140 yards by week 4, and then he got hot. And Adiza goes, nope. If you watch film, basically like called me out. He was like, no, if you actually watch film instead of just reading stats, they stopped giving him the ball. They were checking out of plays. He wasn't able to run. And now they're saying they don't want him to get the ball because that's basically what he inferred, that you have a 1-year run with a once-in-a-generation player.
Yep.
What do you think they're going to do to him? Basically inferring that they're just going to make him a workhorse and get him beat up. It's like, well, last year you said they didn't give him the ball enough. That's why he started cold. And now you're saying he's going to get the ball too much. I think that Lev Bell camp is very, very conflicted. I don't think they have a clue what's going on. And Yinzers ain't happy about it. Play Debbie, please.
Very angry at him. I mean, I understand, okay? He got to eat too. He got a family. I get it. But at the end of the day, really, you can't take it with you, Le'Veon. If you don't show up, who cares? We'll do it without. It's the Steelers. Like, we create the talent. We made you who you are. We made you what you're worth. End the story.
You ain't gonna take it with you. You ain't gonna take it with you. Everybody's gotta eat, says Debbie. That's from WTAE TV in
Who was
Pittsburgh.
the Pittsburgh fan last year after
He
the
was up
storm?
on Mount
Barry
Washington.
something.
Oh, yeah, Barry up there on Mount Washington.
Pittsburgh people are a different level. I'm very happy that I can potentially put a little bit of spotlight on them because they've never got enough attention. Yinzers have not got enough attention because the Yinzers have never looked for it, to be honest.
They're an incredible breed of people.
Incredible breed,
I love
Todd.
them.
Incredible breed.
Came out this morning, the Steelers are not going to rescind his franchise offer or whatever.
Okay.
They still can, however, trade him if they wanted to.
Colts got a lot of money, man. We would love him out here in Indianapolis. I mean, there's a
We'll throw a parade.
I bet
We'll do all
you-
kinds of
So he can't
crazy shit.
sign a long-term deal. He'd still be on the franchise tag with it, whatever team gets him. But they could basically, like, I was watching Florio this morning. He said, do a wink and a nod deal. Like, hey, we'll pay you this right after the season.
Yep.
I don't know if they, like, what happens, though.
Do you
That's
think
why-
Lev Bell just hates the Steelers
What if
so
he
bad?
blows out a knee with this team that they traded for, and then that wink and a nod deal goes away?
It would. By the way, AQ Shipley, I think, is calling in today. A guy who blew out his knee, and Arizona Cardinals still signed him to an extension, which is very, very chivalrous of the Arizona Cardinals. Normally, you don't see that. I think Lev Bell, in that situation, he's becoming a full heel in the NFL right now. A lot of people hating him. But you know what? These are the things that the NFL can bring you. There's lovable characters, there's hateable characters, there's drama, there's comedy, there's upsets, there's so many things with the NFL, and I am so excited that the NFL season has started. Tonight's the night. We can't wait for it. And I can't wait for this conversation with Joe Thomas where we're going to cover more. This is an NFL day of kickoff day celebration to the fullest. Joining us next is a guaranteed future Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, Joining us now is a 10-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro, first-round draft pick, guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. Every offensive lineman from one side of this country to the other and all around the world says he is the greatest offensive lineman they've ever watched on film. Never gave up sacks, never let the quarterback get hit. He owns a restaurant, Mission Barbecue, coming to a city near you. He has a beer named after him, 73 Beer. He played 10,363 consecutive snaps on a dog shit football team. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Thomas.
And the crowd goes, wow, wow. What a humbling introduction. I am truly honored to be on this amazing podcast this morning.
Joe, I'm going to say this. I have heard the media people talk about you just being this incredible offensive lineman. AQ Shipley's one of my best friends. Literally just got off the phone with him. I was like, hey, is the media bullshitting about Joe Thomas being this good? And he went on a 4-minute rant about how good you are and how incredible you are and how you're the best offensive lineman he's ever seen on film. Do you feel like your career was wasted in Cleveland?
Oh, wow. That's a big question now. I feel like my time was definitely not wasted in Cleveland because I ate a lot of really good barbecue at Mission Barbecue Restaurant, and I'm about to drink a lot of really good 73 beer from Great Lakes Brewing. So certainly I feel like it was a raging success.
Okay, let's talk about it, though. You do go to Cleveland Browns. Obviously, there's no franchise that wants to lose as much as the Cleveland Browns have lost. Was there ever a time when you were there that it got to you mentally, where you're like, you know what, there's never any happy times really consecutively. You draft every single quarterback under sun. You drafted a 28-year-old at one point to be your quarterback. Is there ever a thought where you're like, man, this is really getting to me emotionally, or were you just the consummate professional? I'm going to do my job as great as I can because the Cleveland Browns extended an incredible opportunity to me?
I knew you were a great podcaster, but you're actually a great interviewer because that is a question that I haven't really expounded on too often. And there actually was a breaking moment. And it's not something I've really talked about much, but it was in year 10. It was like the 5th or 6th week of the season. We actually were playing the Patriots. And just like many other people in the NFL, I despised the Patriots. And if there was one thing I was going to do that year, it was going to be we were going to beat the dog shit out of the Patriots. And so we had this great game plan. We worked all week. Emotionally, I was really wrapped up into it. And we went out there, and lo and behold, the Patriots had a better game plan than we did, and they beat the dog shit out of us. And it was just emotionally draining. And I remember driving home with my wife in the car, and I just started crying. And it was something weird because I've never really been super emotional about football. I mean, when you're in high school and you're winning youth football championships, you get all emotionally wrapped up into it because you're raging hormones and a 15-year-old kid. But in the NFL, you're kind of a steady person. That's the hallmark of offensive linemen for the most part, pretty steady. But I just had this uncontrollable sobbing, and I was just so emotionally wrapped up in what was going on. And I just had a really hard time handling it and dealing with what had happened and sort of the direction that season was going. And believe it or not, I actually had to talk to some people within the Browns on the medical side, the shrink, that type of stuff, to try to help me kind of cope with what was going on and the season that we were having and sort of the direction that the team was going down. It was kind of well known that they were sort of tanking for a couple of years to try to get better draft picks, and be in my 10th season. It was a difficult thing to come to grips with, the reality of your situation. And I think I was able to do that after a few weeks and kind of talking through things with some people. But it was really difficult, and it was hard just accepting the fate that you had and understanding that no matter what I do at my position, I'm not going to have much impact on the outcome, much like a punter, right? you could boot the ball 100 yards every time you got the ball, but it really isn't going to affect the outcome of the game that much. And you're still going to lose if you don't have a great quarterback and you don't have a good defense and all these other pieces. And so Yeah, I think that was the moment in my career where I snapped. I lost it.
Did anybody, by the way, very understandable, that in fact that it took you a decade and how many quarterback sticks? 20
is what I
20
believe.
quarterbacks to get there. That just shows how consummate professional you are, by the way. Just a consummate professional, and I don't think...
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Did anybody from the Browns ever apologize to you? Were they ever like, Joe, you're the greatest offensive lineman potentially of all time, and the way this has all gone is not how we saw it. Was there ever that conversation?
Yeah, they apologized to me twice a month. It was when my paycheck showed up. It was, I think it was every other Tuesday. It was a good day. That finally felt better.
Do you see any hope for the Cleveland? Hard Knocks was electric.
Yep.
Coach Wiley, by the way, was that your offensive line coach?
He was last year, and we loved him. Everyone loves that guy.
It's hard not to. He drives Maserati. He flies planes. His whole body goes with the whole thing. He's an electric human being. After watching Hard Knocks, and this is something that happened with me when I made my decision to retire after I was sick of making money for the people. They end up firing Grigson. Chris Ballard comes in. Chris Ballard has a full conversation with me about how we appreciate the individuality of players. We like that. But by that point, I'd already made up my mind. Whenever you see Todd Haley coming in and Greg Williams, these notable coordinators with Hugh Jackson, who you went on record saying was your favorite head coach, was there ever a thought of, you know what, maybe a couple more years here if it looks like the Cleveland Browns could be turning it around?
Truthfully, I would still be playing if my body was willing. I've got bone on bone in my knee. I've got arthritis in my hips, back, and other knee. And I think there's just a point when a man and a professional has to look themselves in the mirror and just understand and come to grips with the fact that you just can't do it anymore. You just can't put yourself through the training that's necessary to be ready and prepared to go out and perform at the certain level that you have to perform at on those Sundays. And I just had reached that point where I knew my body just could not take it anymore. I tore my tricep tendon last fall, and that was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. I knew that I was kind of hanging on by a thread for those last couple years, dealing with the knee injections and the draining of the knee every single week, and basically not practicing at all, only showing up on Sundays and playing. And that was sort of the last drops that I had in my body. And I knew when that happened that I just had nothing left, and I couldn't do it. As much as my brain wanted to do it, the body was not willing.
How awesome was Toradol, bro?
Hey, man, that was great. I tell you what, it sucked later on in your career when they started taking that stuff away from you.
It was the best.
Joe, I had a question. So there, many times over your career, there were trade rumors.
That's what we're doing today. Go ahead.
Many times over your career, there was trade rumors about you, especially when it was like you and Alex Mack. You were talking about they thought about you guys tanking and stuff like that. As far as you know, was there ever a time where you were close to being traded, or did you reached out and said, hey, maybe you guys trade me? I kind of want to be on a winning team. Anything like that ever happen?
It was actually, believe it or not, the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. They actually really put a full court press on the Browns to try to trade for me because they'd lost their left tackle earlier on in the season, and they knew that was going to be their chance to make that playoff run. It was right at the end of Peyton's career, and they wanted to be able to protect him for the long haul. And so they put together a pretty good offer of players and picks for the Browns to trade me. But I think what happened was the GM at the time, Ray Farmer for the Browns, he was kind of already a little bit in hot water. And I think he didn't want to be known as the guy that had traded me away, no matter what the bevy of picks was, because I think he kind of knew that it was close to maybe at the end of that season, he was probably going to get let go. And I think he was thinking that, like a doctor, sometimes no move is the safe move. And you don't want to try to go for that open heart surgery if you're definitely not sure it's going to be a winning procedure.
Kevin Costner, the best GM the Browns have ever had?
I believe he was certainly the most well-known.
The NFL season is kicking off this evening. Falcons, Eagles, things like that. I've talked to a lot of players who retire who said they can't enjoy watching football anymore. I am the complete opposite. Now I'm betting on the games. I enjoy being a fan again. Are you the same way? Do you enjoy watching it? When you're watching games, do you find yourself just watching the tackle and seeing what they're doing, or are you enjoying the game?
I'm totally like you. I love watching other people work, man. And, it's like when your lawn mowing crew comes over or your landscapers come over. I'm the first guy that grabs a beer from the fridge and pulls the lawn chair out. I want to watch them work all day in the hot sun. And it's just like on Sundays. I love watching those guys go out and work and get tired and sweaty and beat up and sore the way I used to. But now I'm sitting at home enjoying a 73 beer from my couch.
You sound like a NASCAR driver with that goddamn 73 beer. Is it an IPA? Is it a light beer? What type of beer do you have over there?
It's actually a Kolsch ale. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that style, but I'm going to have to send you at least a couple six-packs for this opening weekend of football because it's absolutely delicious. It's easy to drink. You can funnel it. You can sip on it. You can put it in a bottle. You can put it in a glass. It doesn't matter how you drink it. It's delicious.
You seem like such a man's man, and I mentioned this earlier in the show before you came on. I remember the draft when you were out on a fishing boat. You knew you were going to be a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, and you refused to go to the draft, but ESPN or whoever it was refused to just let you hang out with your family. They put a camera out with you out on the middle of the boat. Is fishing a hobby of yours? What are some hobbies of Joe Thomas?
Hey, man, I love getting out and fishing. I've got 3.5 little kids right now, so I don't get as much time to go fishing as I used to, but certainly fishing was like a first love of mine. I always grew up camping with my family, and I picked up hunting when I was in middle school with some of my buddies, and now I'm a passionate hunter. So basically anything outdoors, that's right up my wheelhouse. And working out, I enjoy working out a little bit. Those are kind of my hobbies, podcasting a little on the side with the Tomahawk shows. So I like to dabble.
Good show, by the way. Thanks for having me on. Everybody can go download that right now. It was a good show. I want Hawkins on the show as well. He was you guys were very, very talented. I want to let you know that.
I appreciate it, man. We have a lot of fun. That whole thing really just kind of started organically from the Browns locker room. We had a couple of old stiffs, me and Hawk, that had a locker next to each other, and we just shoot the breeze every day in the locker room like probably the punters and kickers usually do when we're at practice. And it just kind of stemmed, and we said, hey, man, wouldn't it be great if we just threw a microphone in between us? I think the folks at home, the common folk, would love to hear what we're talking about, and it kind of spawned into this award-winning podcast we got now.
Well, I'm happy it did, by the way, and I'm very lucky to be a guest on there. Go ahead, Todd.
Joe, temporarily leaving the NFL as a legend, do you see your future exclusively entrepreneurial as a businessman, or do you think you'll return one day as in a coaching profession or commentating?
I told my wife when I retired that now my goal was going to be I wanted to be a little bit good at everything, and to which she promptly laughed at me. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now.
Really? You have no idea? No plans? Nothing?
Well, I mean, I got a lot of ideas, but I don't know if I'm going to be good at any of them. I mean, I got the Mission Barbecue restaurant going. I got the beer going. We got the podcast rolling. I'm going to be doing some work with NFL Network this year, Thursday Night Football, and then a little bit of NFL Total Access. I'm doing some work with the Browns. I got other little entrepreneurial things, and I'm going to see where it goes. I don't want to just dive fully into one thing right now in that first year in retirement, because how do I know? I was just a football player. I've never lived in the real world at all in my life, so I have no idea what I'm going to love and what I'm going to hate. I think I know, but just like playing football, the people that see us and think we only show up on Sundays that think, oh, that would be a great job. I don't really know what I'm going to love to do, so I want to just do a little bit of everything and then just kind of figure it out and not worry about it too much.
When you're the best in the world at what you do, and you don't have to say you are, everybody else seems to be saying that, there's not a lot of people up there. You got to have a special mental capacity did it engulf your thoughts year-round, offensive line football, your technique, not hurting your body at all? Like, for instance, when I was young in my NFL career, I was a wild animal, but I also wasn't that good. Something happened. I get arrested. I decide to flip a switch that I said, I want to be great at this. I want to be able to do, and it kind of engulfed me. It became in the off season, no matter what I was doing, the thought was, will this help me or fuck me over in kicking a football again? Was that what it was for you? Did it engulf your entire life? And are you enjoying this freedom, not only time and schedule-wise, but mentally, a freedom to kind of think about other things?
When you started talking about best in the world, I thought you were going to pat yourself on the back as the best podcaster in the world, but you went a different direction, and I appreciate that. No, honestly, for me, from the moment I got into the NFL, even in college, I just took a lot of pride in my job. And I think because as an offensive lineman, as a tackle, like if I don't do my job, the guy behind me is literally going to get killed. The quarterback's legs are going to get broken, or the running back's collarbone's going to be smashed. And so really, I don't have an option. I have to do my job to the best of my ability at every single moment. There is no option to take a play off. And I think that was kind of how I lived my NFL career, and especially early on. I mean, I thought about it a lot. Obviously, I got away from it with fishing and hunting and some of the things I like to do in the off season with my family. But when it was time to be football, I was all football. I was thinking about it all the time. I was working on my craft. I was studying the film because I could not accept myself to have one mistake in a practice or a game, and I was not going to rest until I was able to be perfect. And I think that early on in my career was what really kind of set the stage for the success I had later on in my career. And then because I don't want to say gotten so good at it, but I was so comfortable with what I had to do from a technique and assignment standpoint that I was really able to enjoy my later years in my career because I didn't have to do so much film study. I didn't have to do as many things in practice to get myself ready because I'd already kind of polished my game to the level that it was already as good as it was going to get. So I really enjoyed the last few years of my career because of that.
Any defensive ends give you nightmares or anything like that? Who was the one guy you had? Because after hanging around Anthony Costanzo for a lot of years, left tackle, you guys, now granted, scheme's a big deal, but that is very much a mano-a-mano operation happening out there at left tackle. Was there any guys, I know you have a respect for anybody that makes it in the NFL. You got to be great to make it to the NFL. But were there any guys that you had to battle or joust with that you were like, this guy gives me fits, or this guy has something that I can't, anything like that?
That's a good point. I tell everybody that is a rookie, like, hey, you know all those All-Americans that you played in college? Like, probably two times a year you'd play against an All-American. He was really good, and you had to get yourself ready, and you had to get your mind right. Well, in the NFL, they're all All-Americans, right? So you need to get your mind right every single week. But for me, I will tell you, the one guy, especially early on in my career, that gave me fits, that was a nightmare. You know, one of those guys where you don't sleep Friday night, you don't sleep Saturday night before the game because all you can do is think about the matchup, was Dwight Freeney. A guy that was much beloved in Indianapolis, and rightly so. The guy that really mastered the spin move like nobody else had mastered of all time, this spin move inside. He could run you over because he was so strong and powerful, and then he could run around you because he had so much speed. So I would say Dwight Freeney was that first guy that just gave me all sorts of fits in my career.
You're not the first tackle that has said that, by the way.
Matt Light said it on the show.
Yeah, Matt Light said it, and then Sports Science said that spin move was very similar to a figure skater. It was a nightmare. Nick, you got something?
Joe, we've all heard the story about you meeting quarterbacks for the first time in the huddle on the day of the game, I was wondering, are there any guys that came in that you thought were the guy that was going to turn it around for Cleveland? Was there one guy standing out in particular, or a couple guys that you thought, this is it, this is the guy?
Well, I think as a competitor, as somebody who was in the Browns uniform, and each year you needed to convince yourself that this was the year you were going to make it happen, because I think to get the most out of yourself, you had to convince yourself optimistically that you were going to go to the Super Bowl, right? Otherwise, what are you working for? So really, every year that we were out there, I had myself pretty much convinced that that was the guy that was going to lead us to the Super Bowl. I mean, going all the way back to my rookie year when we had Derek Anderson and Brady Quinn was our first-round pick. And then from there, we had Jake Delhomme, who we brought in from the Carolina Panthers. And we had Colt McCoy, who came in and did a great job for us, and, on down the line. So I think as an NFL player, you have to get yourself in that mindset that you are going to win. You are going to be Super Bowl champs. There is nobody that can stand in your way. And it's only, now in hindsight where you look back and say, oh, that guy probably wasn't that good.
Out of all those quarterbacks, which one gave you the best gift?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I think Colt McCoy did. He bought us the big green eggs. Not the baby version either, like the XL, like the big honking version where you can go out and, you can grill, you could smoke, you could do whatever you want. That was probably the coolest gift because I'm kind of a foodie. I'm a guy that likes getting out and throwing some meat on the barbecue.
So you have a whole closet full of gift set, basically, right?
I wish. Unfortunately, we didn't have quite a lot of success, and we didn't have the big, high-paid quarterbacks all that often. So my gifts were few and far between. It wasn't, I'm sure Peyton was big on buying all his boys' gifts.
Yeah, not me. I mean, he just flew me around. He just flew me around, had me get drunk and entertain people for a while. That was a good enough gift for me.
Hey, Joe, you were talking earlier about pass rushers and Dwight Freeney. How good? I assume you went against him in practice a little bit. Miles Garrett. How good is Miles Garrett?
Well, Miles Garrett, he'll be a guy that by the end of his career, I think he's going to put himself in the conversation for Hall of Fame. He is just an incredible athlete. I mean, the way he runs and bends and his power and his mind, he's really got everything you could possibly imagine. He reminds me a lot of a guy named DeMarcus Ware. The way he can get off the ball, the way he can get up under your pads, the way he can just throw somebody down, but then accelerate to the quarterback. And I will even give him this compliment. Like, DeMarcus was exceptional, but he was limited in the number of pass rush moves he had, right? He was so good at the few things he did, he didn't need a lot of pass rush moves, but Miles actually has a really big repertoire of pass rush moves, and if he's able to continue to develop all those different moves, he's going to be about unblockable.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, Joe? Other than the Browns?
Other than the Browns, I would say, it's kind of the Browns and then like a big gap. But clearly, I would say I got the Saints. I really think the Saints are going to make a big run. I feel like this is towards the end of Drew Brees' career, and they've got a really good team together. They finally got a running game and a pretty good defense to go with what Drew Brees does. And I'm really high on the Saints right now.
Hey, okay, I just remembered this now. I'm high on the Saints as well. They never get talked about, and the way they lost last year had to be a kick in the sack all offseason. The offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you tweeted about this last night. I referenced this. Normally players are like, yo, go get your money. Do what you have to do. We all get it. Yesterday, it's like the dogs just came out after Le'Veon Bell. Offensive linemen going after Le'Veon Bell. Everybody's going after him. How do you feel about that whole situation as an offensive lineman who gets – but you're the greatest in the game. You got a lot of credit, especially because you were a shining light on the Browns. But normally, offensive linemen get zero love, show up, work, shut up, just keep it moving. You're in the trenches. And now we got offensive linemen coming out and going against their own running back. How do you feel about that whole situation? And did it surprise you whenever everybody's kind of got loose on Le'Veon Bell yesterday?
Yeah, it's getting ugly in Pittsburgh. I mean, the stuff going on between Le'Veon and really all of his teammates, but specifically his offensive line, is getting a little bit nasty. But like I mentioned on Twitter at Joe Thomas 73, everybody in the NFL from a player standpoint is all players all the time, right? Hey, man, we understand this is a business. We got billionaire owners that are fighting us to try to take money away from us. You got to fight, scratch, and claw for every dollar you can get because your career is short. I mean, in the NFL, 5-10 years at the most, that's your opportunity to make money, and you need to do it because you put your body through hell, and you're going to walk out of this game crippled. So you got to get your money. But I think at the same time, these guys realize when somebody's being a little bit unreasonable. And I think for the most part, it seems like basically from all accounts, what's going on with Le'Veon and the Steelers, that he's being very unreasonable at a position that's not a premier position anymore. I mean, it's not like he's a quarterback or a pass rusher. I mean, he would have got his $20+ million a year if you're one of those two guys. But as a running back, it's really difficult to kind of put a value on what he does because he is the best running back in the game, and he is a guy that catches passes. But I think when your teammates see that you're being unreasonable and it's hurting the team, that's when they're going to stand up and say, hey, man, they're going to call him out. Hey, you need to get your butt here because you are being an idiot, first of all. You're hurting yourself, your family, and you're hurting these teammates here that you've been telling us how important we are, and now you're not putting your money where your mouth is.
Hey, Joe.
Hey,
I want to let you know that if I was a punter for the Browns and you were my left slot, like left tackle, I would feel very secure with you there. You know that?
That makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
You don't really like punters much. It's a shame, by the way.
It's a jealousy thing, and we talked about it on my podcast, the Tomahawk Show, the other day. Man, I was a punter in high school, a stellar 39-yard average, took me to Allstate in Wisconsin, and I really just was dreaming of that moment in the NFL where our punter would go down. He would get like a hammy, right? And our kicker couldn't punt, and they would have to call him the lefty. Because I was the backup punter all those years in Cleveland, believe it or not, and I dreamed of booming like a 60-yarder and never looking back and never having to bang heads with anybody at left tackle.
Joe, I appreciate you so much for joining us, man. I can't wait to try Mission Barbecue when you make your way to Indianapolis. There's some stores in southern Indiana and also in Ohio. Go check that out. Can't wait to drink the 73 beer at Joe Thomas 73. I'll tell you what, man. You're a legend on the football field, and I think you're going to very quickly become one off the field. Such a gentleman. Thank you so much for joining us, Joe.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. I had a lot of fun, and keep killing it in the podcast game, baby.
You got it. I mean, I won't get hired to any of those big networks like you do, so maybe drop my name every once in a while. If things are getting boring over there, I'll bring the juice.
Sounds good, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you. Have an incredible day. Ladies and gentlemen, future First Ballot Hall of Famer, Joe Thomas. Appreciate you, Joe.
Thanks, man.
All these home security companies promise you protection. I was going to get into an ad read, by the way. I was going to get right into an ad read, and then I remember he bashed punters right as I was talking about it. All these security companies promise you protection that's 24/7. A lot of offensive linemen promise they're going to do that whenever they get drafted. Joe Thomas is the only one and the only company that really can take care of you. 365 is Simply Safe. Their alarms quit during, other alarms quit during storms, power failures, Wi-Fi outages, common problems that arise for Americans, no problem every single day. Makes you wonder why those security companies actually say they're securing anything if they're willing to quit like that. Simply Safe does not. Simply Safe is there for you 24/7, and it actually looks like it. It has battery backups, dual cellular and Wi-Fi connection, all wireless. It's keeping your alarm running day and night, ready to call the authorities the instant there's trouble. That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's a hell of a line they put together there, too. Yeah. That's real protection. That's Simply Safe Home Security. CNET gave Simply Safe the Editor's Choice Awards. So did PC Magazine. You know what those are, Ty?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
CNET, CNET,
Yep.
they don't just hand out awards.
No.
No.
Big deal in the tech world. Big deal.
I don't know if you're being serious or not.
I am.
I have no idea what CNET is.
Yeah, CNET's a big deal.
Yeah.
And they're just handing out awards to Simply Safe and nobody else.
Exactly.
I like that means something, doesn't it? And using Simply Safe makes your home safer. It's that simple. Best of all, you get 24/7 monitoring with police and fire dispatch for just $15 a month.
Wow.
See, that's the incredible part.
$15.
I would
You're
sleep
the
great.
Joe Thomas of home security companies, and they're only $15.
And you're paying them like a third stringer.
Yeah.
Oh, not even like a practice squad. $15 a month for a sense of security? You need to hop on this now. Simply Safe is the best around-the-clock protection you can find. Protect your home today with free shipping and free returns when you visit simplysafe.com/McAfee. That's simplysafe.com/MCAFEE. Simplysafe.com/McAfee. 24/7 coverage, 365. They look out for you. We have them in our office here, and I have them in my house. It's absolutely incredible. You go to your app, the cameras turn on, they alert. It's the best. Joe Thomas was awesome.
Awesome.
Absolutely awesome.
Hey, congrats to you and us for having 3 first ballot Hall of Famers on the show in like the last 3 weeks.
Not too shabby.
Not
A-Rod,
too shabby.
Ain't bad.
Brian Urlacher,
Now, granted,
Joe Thomas.
let's say Kyle Rudolph maybe gets hot too here somehow. We could drop 4 in there. Joe Thomas is incredible. How about him sobbing there week 10? That's sad, man.
I can't
10th year, I guess. 10th year.
I can't even imagine that.
I can't believe it didn't come sooner.
Well, he was such a professional. You heard him every single year. He had the belief that they were going to be great. That's such a professional, such all in for his teammates. That's like he's the perfect teammate, I'd assume, and
He's the prototype.
he is the
NFL.
prototype. You print one out. We need a left tackle who's going to buy into the team.
Yep.
He's going to have perfect technique. He's going to be respected by his peers. He's going to be great. He is the prototype. He's the first ever offensive lineman.
We forgot one big question.
What's that?
How do you feel about earning his stripe every year?
They didn't do
It's
that.
just delicious.
But I should have asked it if he thinks that's a joke. What were you about to say, Diggs?
No, I was gonna say I guess I get it because it's year 10 because NFL and football is such a week-to-week thing. Like you honestly
Not
just
even
go
week to week.
day to day.
It's meeting to practice
Yep.
to where everything is what is next.
So
That's
the
all
fact
it is.
that it finally hit him 10 years in that like this was his career like with this team.
Yep.
Guess it kind of makes sense.
Diggs, you got some picks for these people before we
I
get
do.
out of here on
I
this
do.
beautiful Thursday here?
I am-
Heartland Radio 2.0 dropping tomorrow, debut. It'll be
sir.
normally on Mondays and Wednesdays, but since there was Labor Day and a whole new schedule, tomorrow, Friday Bangers will probably be on there with Nick a little bit, and we got Heartland Radio 2.0. We had 2 podcasts in the top 7 this morning. Feels pretty good. Heartland Radio 2.0 will be great. It's a comedy podcast for the world, basically, to listen. Diggs, some picks for the people here before we get out of here?
This weekend, I'm starting tonight. I'm going with, well, since it's right now -1, I'm going to go Falcons -1.
Yep, maybe by a half point like old Sam Ludi, my lady.
I am going to go Vikings -6.5 at home against the Niners.
Oh, I like that. Jimmy G with his first loss, possibly. Diggs is betting
sure.
against the Italian who went out with an adult film star. You would think Diggs would ride with Jimmy G anywhere.
It sounds like your guy.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like you if you were a professional
Jimmy
quarterback.
G is my guy, but as we all know, this is not a one-guy sport.
Well, Joe Thomas and all the offensive linemen in the Steelers said that about Lev Bell. What
You
else?
bet with your head, not with your heart.
Correct.
If Jimmy G would have picked a page 1 porn star, would you have been on his side?
He would have been up higher.
Great
yes.
question.
Bengals
Zero
are
great
+2.5 at the Colts. Like Sam, I'm going to buy a point to give him to +3. Take the Bengals at the Colts, +3.
Wow. Colts fans aren't going to like hearing that.
That's fine. Ravens -7 at home against the Bills and our boy Nathan Peterman, who throws the best ball in the league.
Yep.
And Titans -2 at the Dolphins.
Go ahead and make those bets at MyBookie, the official sponsor of MyBookie.ag. We thank you so much for fucking with us. I also am very thankful for this company that has come into my life. When it comes to below-the-belt comfort, there's regular underwear, and then there's Tommy John. It's revolutionary clothing brand that's redefined comfort for men and women everywhere. Let me put it to you this way. Tommy John doesn't give an F.
No.
They give 3 Fs. Fabric, fit, and function.
Oh,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Got him!
Tommy John obsesses over every little detail and stitch by using proprietary fabrics that perform like nothing you've ever worn before. As a result, Tommy John's men's and women's underwear sport a no wedgie guarantee.
Nice.
Comfortable, stay-put waistbands in a range of fabrics that are luxuriously soft, feather-light, moisture-wicking, breathable, and designed to move with you, not against you. That means there's no bunching and no riding up at all. Tommy John is so confident in their underwear that if you don't love your first pair, you can get a full refund with the best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. That includes their new life-changing women's underwear that's sold out in just 6 weeks. Oh, wow. Sold out in just 6 weeks. I did not expect to read that. Sold out in just 6 weeks, which is now fully back in stock. Give 3 Fs about your underwear and upgrade with Tommy John today. Hurry to TommyJohn.com/America for 20% off your first order. That's TommyJohn.com/America for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/America. This is you're literally listening to a group of dudes. I don't know about Joe Thomas. He should. You're listening to a group of dudes that wear Tommy John every single day.
wearing
It's
them
the
right
first
now.
thing you put on in the morning, last thing you take off. You never think about it. Tommy John has completely changed the game. The women, 6 weeks is sold out.
That's incredible.
That is wild. Big thanks to Joe Thomas. Big thanks to MyBookie, SeatGeek, Simply Safe, and Tommy John for rocking with us. And to all you listeners, thank you so much. If you could spread the word. We did start back at 0. Spread the word. I think we're giving NFL takes and world takes that you won't hear anywhere else. Heartland Radio 2.0 tomorrow. Ty Schmidt. We don't got it yet. Hit the music.